This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Bumper to Bumper Radio. I'm Matt Allen. This guy standing here next to me is Dave Riccio. And every Saturday at 11, we are your KTAR car guys here to help with your car. And doesn't matter what the problem is. Maybe you got in a crash and you got some questions with the insurance, how that's being handled, a body shop question, selling the car. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's about your car or anything related to that and you need some help, just give us a call, 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And if you'd like to text, you can do that at 411-923. I don't know that we'll text you back, but we'll certainly talk about that text message. And it's that time of the year. So is this you?
We're kicking off our fun old-fashioned family Christmas by heading out into the country in the old front-wheel drive sleigh to embrace the frosty majesty of the winter landscape and select that most important of Christmas symbols.
The thing I love about this time of year is I get to watch that movie over and over and over again.
There's some of those classics.
Come on, Snap, roll over. Let Clark rub your belly.
You've seen it clearly way too many times, I think. But, I don't know. Did their car break down on that that vacation of theirs? I haven't watched the movie enough, Dave, like you.
Oh, no. It didn't break down, but a little road rage got going on there.
A little road rage.
Eat my rubber, burn my dust, or something like that was one of those lines from that. But that is what happens this time of year. People get in their car and they go drive, see people, and it's one of those things where there's so much going on at Christmas time. You're planning, you're buying presents, you're making all that stuff happy. But did you bother to take the car and have it checked out?
Go ahead.
Is it road trip ready?
And that's a big question. We talk a lot about the cars and getting ready, and if you don't have the relationship with the mechanic and you're just going in, you haven't been in all year, chances are you're going to get some news that you don't want. So you definitely need to get the car in. But Dave, what do you think about renting a car? I tell you, I drove my excursion to San Diego a couple weeks ago, and we had a breakdown before we left. The night we were, before we were leaving, and I had that thing fixed. And I'm confident in my guys, but I had a thought going through my head the whole time I was over there in San Diego. If this thing breaks down, I'm screwed. I mean, as many of the resources you have, it's just not. Sometimes it's not worth it to even take your car. So,
how many miles is on your excursion?
105,000.
Oh, it's not a lot of miles,
Not at all.
But I think there's a point to just the mileage and thinking about the mileage. The modern car, mostly before 80,000 miles, nothing major breaks. Not a whole lot that's going to put you on the side of the road. Things that will put you on the side of the road on a vehicle that's fairly newer, built in the last 5 years, you still got a battery in there. They can go bad. You might want to head down and get a good interstate battery if it's older than 3 years. You still got tires. I mean, you're buying tires on your car 2-3 years into it. Tires are a big deal. It's going to put you on the side of the road.
Well, or on the side of the road. When you say side of the road, I think about broken down. But right now I'm thinking side of the road as in slid off in the ditch when I'm talking about the tires.
Yeah, that's true.
I had a friend of mine that's got an all-wheel drive Subaru, and he says, Matt, do I need chains for my car? I said, no, I think you're fine, more than likely. But he's like, yeah, what about my tires are getting down? And I said, well, take a measurement of them because tires are totally worn out at 2/32 of an inch. So we typically recommend in Arizona replacement around 3/32. That's how much tread life is left on the tires. But that standard is much higher in other parts of the country. So we're kind of immune to some of that stuff in the valley. And I said, no, you just go replace the tires now. Well, I was going to do it in January. Well, you'll be thankful that you did it now, not January, because that little extra bit of tread when you're going up to Colorado to go skiing, you're going to really wish you had that. It's going to make that keep you out of the ditch and off the side of the road. So if they don't owe you anything, and it doesn't put you in a bind, just put the tires on now if it's marginal.
Right, and that's the thing if you're going up north, because a lot of people are going. You're like, hey, snow day, let's go up north for the day, and you gotta what do you gotta have in the car? I mean, there's people that get stuck in the middle of nowhere because they went down some road. Snow gets there and the vehicle gets stuck, and they're a long ways away from anything. What are some things you think ought to be in the car?
Well, from that standpoint, you know, you should have the stuff anyway, even if you're not going to be going down that road. But I would first start by saying follow the road closure signs. Don't open gates that you shouldn't be opening and going down. If it looks to a spot where you shouldn't go and nobody else has been there, maybe not be the first guy.
Yeah, don't road less travel.
But, gee, you know, we've only got so much room in our car. You can have a shovel, you can have all this stuff, and then where are you going to put anything else? But it's nice to have a pair of gloves. I mean, not just, you know, your driving gloves. You know, some work gloves from Home Depot or some mechanics gloves or something like that. I like to have an old floor mat, or maybe get a carpet sample from the carpet store. You know, if you need to get down on your knee and change a tire or something like that, you can buy moving blankets at Harbor Freight cheap. You know, maybe one of those, keep you warm. Trash bag, maybe that's your rain poncho if you've got to get out and change the tire or something. But you can use that carpet for traction too if you get stuck in the snow. But I would just say avoid all that in the first place. But what about, I had this happen to me driving back from Nevada a couple years ago in the snow. I have no problems with the vehicle, but they shut down I-40. Now you're just sitting there waiting. And we're in there for 2 hours. And I'll tell you what, if I didn't have the Game Boy, or, you know, I don't think we had iPads then, you know, it was a few years ago, some other entertainment for the kids, they'll drive you crazy. I was about, you know, I could see myself just get out and walk and say, when this thing opens, I'll be just down the road somewhere. Just give me some snacks, some games, a way to keep your battery charged. Maybe you want to be on the top half of the gas tank, you know?
Yeah, was that a dig at me because I ran out of gas? I think
it
was.
I
think it was.
Nothing to do with it. Hey, we're talking about me breaking down, you know, the day.
Yeah, that's sad.
Day before the road trip. But I think some of the other rules, Dave, if you will, you know, we don't want to do all these major repairs before you go out of town. We talked about, you know, maybe if you've got that relationship, which we all want you to have with your mechanic and with your shop. Most of my customers could call me and say, Matt, Tim, Pascal, whoever answers the phone, hey, this is Sally. Do I need anything on my car? Do I need to come in? And if you've got that relationship, we can look through the service history and say, well, Sally, you know, we've got some notes here. You need some tires or whatever the case is. Or, no, Sally, please go rent the car, right?
Yeah.
But we don't, what do we talk about, Dave? Maybe 3 to 5 days minimum.
Well, based on the age of the car, if you are taking your car out of town and it's got over 100,000 miles on it, you know, we talked about that first 80,000 miles. Really, it's just going to be, you know, make sure all the fluids are up to date and it's got good tires, good brakes, and a good battery in it. That's pretty okay for before 80,000 miles. But when you're up over 100,000 miles, your shop may spot something that needs to be done. They may say, hey, the water pump's starting to seep. It's not, you know, rather than have a problem on the trip, let's do it now. But I don't want to, if it's me and it's at my shop, I hate to do a repair the day before somebody pulls out of town. So because if something's going to go wrong, you know, it's going to go, I mean, that part could have something wrong with it. You know, defective parts,
We're
you know,
humans.
2 to 5% out of the box, you know, technician can make a mistake or something. We'd rather that happen around town. So you want to get it in 2 weeks ahead of time. So if there is a repair, it can be fixed. And then you get to run around town for a couple days before you head out.
Well, and the other thing, just because the shop finds something as well, hey, slow your roll a bit. Is that going to cause me a problem on my trip? You know, maybe it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got a power steering leak. Big deal. Yes, I know it needs to be repaired. Is that likely to break down and give me a problem? And if it's not, maybe you just don't do the repair now. I think leaving on a road trip with a little bit of a power steering leak
not a problem.
Might be better than having someone tearing the belt system off, putting a rack and pinion unit in it or something like that.
I agree with you.
Again, you just have an opportunity for a mistake where the benefit of doing the repair prior to the trip. So, you know, make sure there's nothing wrong with the shop giving you this list of problems. That's what you want them to do. Have the conversation, though. That's where you really, you know.
It's perfectly okay to say no when you go to the auto shop. I mean, you don't have to feel hey, I don't want to deal with that right now. In asking the question is good. Is it going to cause me problems on the trip? Well, the other way to do it is how long has that been leaking for? I mean, if it was a power steering leak, well, it's probably been seeping for 6 months. Okay, well, nothing's different tomorrow. And like you said, Matt, your car doesn't know that it's going out of town. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, the climate may be different, maybe,
right.
You know, but otherwise you jump in the car and you hit the key every time and it starts up.
You know, you would certainly hope it starts up, and that's another case where you want to have the battery checked. We do it on every car we work on because the battery can cause so many problems. So if you've got that battery, it's 2.5 or 3 years old, get in, get by an Interstate Battery store, or find a shop at bumpertobumperradio.com that has Interstate Batteries, or interstatebatteries.com for that matter. Great batteries. You're going to get covered nationwide with them, and they won't leave you stranded.
For sure. When we come back, we're taking your calls at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. We've got Nancy, we've got Peter, and we've got Chandra, and a couple open lines. We'll be right back.
What do PGA Tour stars Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, and Daniel Berger all have in common? They all played in the Patriot All-America Golf Tournament at the Wigwam. The 2016 Patriot All-America Invitational, December 29th through the 31st at the Wigwam Resort in Litchfield Park. This is one of the top amateur events in the country, attracting peeing All-America golfers from across the United States and abroad. Free to attend. Come see golf stars of tomorrow. For more information on the Patriot All-America, visit patriotallamerica.com.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A-plus rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe. She's been drinking too much.
You know, when she got ran over, was it terminal? I mean, she got ran over by a reindeer. Was it a leg thing or, you know?
I don't know.
I remember when I heard that as a kid for the first time. I was with my grandma, and I thought it was hilarious. And I looked at her, I laughed. Grandma got ran over by a reindeer.
Maybe the reindeer was the one that was drinking too much.
Probably so. So, anyhow, welcome to Bumper Radio. I'm Dave Riccio here with Matt Allen, and we are here helping you with your car. To get a hold of us, 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And we are going to go to Nancy in Phoenix. She's got a 99 Plymouth Neon. How can we help you with your Neon, Nancy?
Well, firstly, season's greetings to you both.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, it was about 2 years ago, almost exactly, that I had a new linkage cable put in the transmission of this Plymouth Neon. And well, firstly, this is an old car, but it's got less than 50,000 miles on it. Sort of like, I guess, was like one of your Sun City
Sun
specials.
City Cream Puff, yep.
Yeah, belonged to an older woman, and it's been pretty reliable for me. But that linkage just went out on me one day, and I had a new cable put in. It's 2 years ago, so things were pretty good, and then. About a year later, the clutch cable snapped, and I had another one of those put in. And this thing seems to be a little hard on cables. And then all was good. And then coming back from Mesa about a week ago, the traffic started to slow down on the I-10 going west, and I took it out of it's a manual transmission. You figured that out by now. I took it out of fifth gear and was downshifted it to fourth. Everything's all fine and dandy. And then the traffic picked up again. I tried to put it back in fifth, and it wouldn't go into fifth. It just sort of like I didn't really push real hard, but you know, it's like I couldn't find it, and then I realized it just wasn't working.
So it's just fifth gear gone, or what's happening here?
What I finally discovered, a process of starting and stopping with the traffic there, I figured out I didn't have first, third, or fifth. So all the gears that were on the forward side I didn't have. All I had was second, fourth, and then when I got home, a few doors from my house, I pulled to the curb to see if I had reverse. And, yes, I do have reverse. So everything that's where you pull the gear shift towards you, backwards, all those gears work. Everything where you push the gear shift forward, nothing will go in.
I think
the clutch seems to work fine in the other gears. It's just,
I think, Dave, I think what we're going to find there, Dave, is something pretty simple. I mean, it sounds to me like a clutch shifter linkage cable issue.
Yeah, linkage, and the fact that this thing is chewing up cables, sometimes it makes me think there's a ground issue. You know, and I've seen that with cables and connections to the transmission. When there's no ground going on, it'll
Now, you're talking about the electrical ground. We have to have a battery ground the engine to the frame and the electrical system. So.
Exactly. So it'll take whatever path, and if you're running current through cables, it's not good. I've watched vehicles that consistently chew up cables. So that's a problem. The other thing is there's going to be two cables, typically from the shifter out to the transmission, and it feels like we lost a bushing or something in one of those cables. So more than likely that's what's going on, but she's got a plethora of cable issues. And the other thing that makes me think we're chewing up cables is bad mounts.
Motor mounts. There's Neons and PT Cruisers, which are essentially the same frame, if you will, the same platform. Those do have a lot of engine mount or motor mount problems. And the fact that this car only has 50,000 miles on it, there were a lot of updates to make them better back then. And I suspect, maybe a lot of those updates hadn't been done. But I wasn't thinking about the cable thing. But, the Volkswagen Rabbits back in the 80s, they would have the battery cable straps would go bad. Mm-hmm. And where was the ground? It was through the CV axles. and so they would burn up and wear out the axles. You'd pull the axles apart and they'd be all pitted. That was from that arcing consistently happening.
We see that a lot in transmissions when we're rebuilding, and we want to know why it failed. Otherwise, it'll fail again. And we look in the bushings, you'll see pitting and stuff like that because there's no ground there. So we will run a ground cable from the battery straight to the transmission.
Right. So 602-277-5827 is a good way to get a hold of the show if you have a question. Dave, should we go with Chandra in Phoenix on a Toyota Sienna?
Yes. How can we help you, Chandra? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yeah. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
Okay, so I bought 2015 the Toyota Sienna last year, and when it was at 10,000 miles, when I was going for a drive, at the speed of 60 or 65, when I applied brake, it started shaking on the front. So when I took it to the service center, they said the brake rotors needs to be replaced. I was quite surprised for a new vehicle, and they want to replace both front brake rotors, and they said, okay, we'll replace it. So after they replaced, even if I go for a local commute or the freeway drive, every time when I come back and stop the car, I feel the smoky smell on the driver's side wheel. I don't know, do I still have issues with the brake rotors or something else going on along with the brake rotors that I need to take a look at it?
Yeah, and the car still, I'm assuming, has maybe like 15,000 miles on it at this point?
Right now it is 12,000.
12,000. Dave wants to say something. I would say you definitely have a braking problem. There should not be, one side be hotter than the other. What are you thinking, Dave? And I've got some thoughts too.
Well, I think that I can warp brake rotors in one test drive.
Oh, yeah.
If I want to. So, I mean, the fact that the car's only got 10,000 miles on it and needs brake rotors doesn't necessarily surprise me because I can make that happen real quick with a test drive and heat those rotors up. Real good. So that doesn't surprise me. But if there's something going on there as far as, we're already getting to that point where we're having an issue on one side versus the other, I'm starting to think something's binding up in there and look at those calipers.
Yeah, but I mean, it is surprising. I'm going to debate you a little bit. There is surprising in 10,000 miles. Yeah, I can go out, and you can too. We can go ruin the brake rotors if we intentionally try to ruin them. But I don't think that's what he was doing. He's driving normal. So we either have a driver error problem, maybe it's a new minivan and the other driver or yourself if there is another driver. I see cars driving on the freeway, they got their foot on the brake. You see the brake lights lit up. And if you're dragging the brakes, you're going to wear out the brake rotors. What's happening is they're getting so hot that they're either warping or they're getting hot enough to where the pad material and the rotor, when you stop, they're bound together, and you get a material transfer. That hot brake rotor binds the brake material to the rotor. So now when you go to step on the brakes, there's a high spot, or what people call a hard spot, and you get that shake. So if they just put rotors on the car, they very, very well had fixed the symptom, but not the problem, whatever, like Dave said about the transmission. You got to find out what caused it to fail, or it's going to fail again. So that's where they need to have another look at it, especially if it's happening on one side. there very well is a problem there. You would think that would be equal.
Well, I think that's a thing is that in auto repair there's what broke and then there's why it broke, and that's the thing that needs to happen, because you can always identify what's broken. Yeah, look at it, it's broke, but why did it break? And there's parts that fail just because they have what I call kind of a birth defect, that they weren't manufactured right. Let's just say it's a bearing that was subpar, and so you had a bearing and a differential go bad. Well, there's nothing really surprising there. Why did that break? Well, at 80,000 miles, we see these things go bad. If it happens really young, it was just defective kind of to start with. It didn't show up till 30,000 miles.
Well, I had a brand new car I bought once. A week later, the alternator was bad. It happens. You know what they say. It happens.
What kind of car was that?
Chevy truck.
Yeah. So, and people don't realize cars do. I mean, they do fail under warranty. I mean, it's something that happens. I would say less and less. They're just getting better at making cars. I mean, these cars are phenomenal. I mean, if you do go back to get a brand new car in 1985, it didn't have a cup holder. You think of all the stuff that's on a car now. You've got cup holders. The car will hit the brakes if you take your eyes off the road. Yeah, but you shouldn't be texting and driving.
Well, and one thing I want to remind people of, whenever you take your brand new car in to get fixed, always get a receipt. You need to memorialize every visit. And a lot of times, like in Chunder's case, I think that the warranty's $336, but the 1212, there's also a 1212 bumper-to-bumper warranty, and that's after that they usually don't do anything with the brakes, usually don't do anything with the alignments, and so you need to document all these things. I had a customer that has a problem with her Civic with the auto emergency stopping and stuff, has this intermittent problem. She's been in 4 times the dealer, but they've never given her a receipt. They tell her everything's fine. I don't care what your shop is. Always memorialize. Get an invoice. Keep that documentation in case you need it later on down the road.
When we come back, we've got wide open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Want to talk about anything related to your car questions, car conundrums? Give us a call. You listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, I'm Roger Bland with the Automatic Transmission Rebuilders Association, ATRA. As a transmission industry advocate, I travel throughout North America, studying transmission shops, looking for the best of the best that our industry has to offer. Professionally, ethically run shops that are proud to display the ATRA logo. I was recently in Arizona because I had heard from more than one source that I had to check out Tri-City Transmission right here in Tempe. Folks, I've been in the transmission industry for over 25 years, and I'm here to tell you that Tri-City is the type of transmission shop we're proud to call an ATRA member. Not only does Tri-City Transmission meet the stringent code of ethics set forth for every member of the association, they also have an extraordinary approach to solving their customers' problems. You see, they don't just focus on what it is they produce, transmissions. Their true concern is about fixing your problem. And take it from me, that's a big difference.
To learn more about Tri-City Transmission, find them at tricitytransmission.com. That's tricitytransmission.com.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby, owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at accurateautomotiveaz.com today.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix. KTAR News on 92.3 FM. Arizona's news station. KTAR. On air, 92.3 FM. Online at KTAR.com. And streaming live on the KTAR News app. Your breaking news and traffic. Now.
It's 11:30. Good Saturday morning. I'm John Roller. Here's our top story this hour. President-elect Donald Trump will be taking in a little football this afternoon, making an appearance at the Army-Navy game in Baltimore. Trump spokesman and RNC Communications Director Sean Spicer.
In keeping with a time-honored tradition, he will spend half of this game on the Army side and then half on the Navy side.
Navy looking to make it 16 straight wins over the Black Knights of Army. Meantime, Trump says it's time for the U.S. to pour billions more into its military budget. Trump, speaking at the Union League of Philadelphia, announcing he'd like to increase the number of active Army troops by about 70,000, build new fighter planes for the Air Force, and put 75 new ships in the water for the U.S. Navy. Some winter weather moving east.
Denver is 2 below zero in actual air temperature as that snow was flying on the roads, of course, creating traffic nightmares. Well, now that snow and, of course, the cold going to move east. Wind chill is 18 below Rapid City, 16 below Bismarck. It feels like 7 in Chicago. Even Dallas feels like 22. Then it slides east. We've been talking about Thursday. Now it's here. Well, Saturday's the one to look forward to for Cincinnati at 10, 18 D.C., New York City. Even Atlanta will only feel like 20.
That's ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. More than 20 inches of snow has fallen in New York. Let's get a check on the Valley roadways on this beautiful Saturday morning. Mike Daniels in the RMEGold.com Traffic Center.
Well, thanks, John. We do have an injury accident in Chandler on Price and Ray Road. Also, Washington Street is closed westbound right between 1st and 4th Avenue for the Tamale Festival. This closure in effect until 5 a.m. Monday morning. This report brought to you by Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic ranked #1 hospital in Arizona by U.S. News and World Report. More at mayoclinic.org. I'm Mike Daniels, KTAR News.
Well, it should be gorgeous throughout the weekend. Today, sunny skies and a pleasant 73 for the high. Tonight, a few clouds and an overnight low of 48. Then for your Sunday, plenty of sunshine and a high of 72. Warming up to 64 degrees in Scottsdale this hour. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Weather, replace, or repair, call Howard Air. Bumper to Bumper continues with Matt and Dave. I'm John Roller on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Arizona, an amazing state for outdoor recreation and exploration. Full of mountains, lakes, streams, forests, and of course, our beautiful deserts. Hunting, fishing, camping. If it's about the outdoors, we've got it covered. KTAR invites you to Get Outdoors with Mike Russell today at noon. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and on every device with the KTAR app.
Here's what Carrie from Tempe had to say about her experience with Good Works Auto Repair.
As soon as you realize, I need to get some work done on my car, I'm sure the thought occurs to you that you're about to get taken for a ride. I used to share the same sentiment and wondered if the shop was going to make something up and have me spending hundreds of dollars instead of $30 I was planning on for a simple oil change. This is one of the reasons I will only go to Good Works Auto Repair. Because I trust them. Putting trust in an auto shop didn't come easily. It's been built over several visits with them doing exactly what was needed, not coercing me into unnecessary work. Ask them for an oil change and a safety inspection, they do just that. No baloney list of filters, belts, and whatchamacallits that need replacing on my new car. Thank you, Good Works Auto Repair, for being there for me when I need you.
Appreciate the kind words. It's always a pleasure. Glenn Hayward here. Come experience what award-winning auto service should be. Good Works Auto Repair in Tempe, or visit us at goodworksautorepair.com.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home, or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Yeehaw! I love that little thing right there.
That was the most. Don't ever do that again, please.
I'm actually pretty impressed. You know, Matt.
Just because you have a cowboy hat on today, Dave, is not any yeehaw.
My red cowboy boots are fantastic. So Matt had an eye surgery yesterday, and I'm like, dude, Friday we got to do the show tomorrow. So I call him this morning. He sounds freaking worthless, and I'm like, oh crap,
I am worthless.
He's gonna suck today.
What's new, right? No.
So we get here, and you know what? Right up until the mics went on, I had my concerns, but you stepped up, you showed up.
You just need to flip the switch on. You just flip the switch on, ignore everything else. But I did. It wasn't LASIK. I had LASIK like 13 years ago. My left eye was getting a little goofy, so I went back and they did this. I think it's PRK. But man, I'll tell you, this thing is annoying. It burns, and they said that the worst part comes like 24 to 48 hours, and we're not even actually right about 24 hours now. So I'm bracing. It's just you ever get an eyelash or a piece of sand, it just feels like there's something in my eye, and then now my nose is watered, and I so badly, just love that feeling of digging in and rubbing your eyes. I can't do that.
I saw the pictures of him sitting in the hospital bed. I think it's hilarious. They gave you like a shower cap to keep the hair. You have no hair. Why would you get a shower cap?
I shaved my head yesterday. I should put it on the goatee. We got a bigger chance of something. It'll be like the guy at Costco in the pizza shop,
For sure. Well, we've got Craig, Grant, Dan, and we've got an ever-patient Peter in Phoenix, a 2006 Land Rover Ranger Sport HSE. How can we help you, Peter, on your Land Rover? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, it's a Range Rover Land Rover Sport HSE, and I made the unfortunate error of parking on Saddleback. I don't know if you're familiar with that little one-way street there in downtown Scottsdale, and I parked, and there's a kind of a time issue where you can only park there until a certain time, and I thought it would be taxi time late, So anyway, the meat of the story is I get towed. I get there about 5 minutes after. I speak with a bouncer that was like, man, if you'd have been here 6 minutes ago, it took them 20 minutes to tow your vehicle. So anyway, they tow it to All City Towing. I get the vehicle pulled out. I get it the very next morning. And they had destroyed the vehicle. It wouldn't turn. It wouldn't move forward more than a couple of miles an hour, and there was body damage all the way around it. And you guys prompted me to call whenever you said insurance, and at the inset of your show,
sure,
about insurance issues. Well, I guess the question I have is, my insurance on their list of, they have a list, of course, and so I had it taken to Penske, and I speak with the gentleman there, and he says, and he names a few of the things that they've got to deal with, because underneath those 1-inch bolts that bind to the frame, the frame was ripped. The bolts were fine, but it was torn like tissue paper on both sides of the front end. And he noticed that, and then he started going around the car, and he didn't notice 80% of the damage.
Who's
that was
he?
done.
The Penske guy or the dealer? Or
Yeah,
the insurance
the Penske guy. The claims adjuster came out here, and I made note of the damage that was done, and then once and I even did a 360-degree video before it ever, because all I could do is park it across the street from the.
Sure. So what's the status of it now? What's the kind of the crux of the problem or question?
Yeah, well, it's with I don't know who, because it was with Penske, and then I think they had to send it to Land Rover, and I don't know how to see to it that they make sure that all the repairs are done.
Okay. Well, I guess what I would do, I have several thoughts running through my head. You have a liability issue, and I guess number one is who's ultimately liable. And I guess I'd want to know who towed the car, but at whose direction. If they towed it in the direction of the police, they've got a contract. And there's probably a contract manager from the city of Scottsdale that manages that stuff. I would certainly be in touch with that person and let them know what happened and doing what you can do to obtain their insurance information to make a claim against them. You've probably already contacted your insurance company, which they had you go to Penske. And Penske is also the Land Rover dealership. They may have sent it off-site somewhere to the Penske body shop where they do all of the work for many of the Penske dealerships in one location. I guess I would walk down there and look at the vehicle with them, and the problem is related to a towing. I can tell you they probably put the wrong hook in the frame and opened that thing up like a can opener. I've seen it happen before. I owned a towing company, unfortunately.
Never happened to Matt, though.
Those things happen. But be careful. They know the difference, too, when people are going, well, that wasn't there. It's not their first rodeo. So trying to sneak stuff in under the radar probably isn't going to work either, nor should anybody try to do that. But you just go down there, ask to meet the insurance adjuster. If you'd like to meet them there, meet the shop estimator, have them put on a rack, show you everything, point stuff out. They're going to be straight with you. They're going to call it like they see it, I think.
Bend over and I'll show you.
Christmas Vacation, man. I'd play that over and over again.
Bend over and I'll show you.
That movie is hilarious, you know. There hasn't been a movie like that since that movie.
Well, maybe that's the feeling where he's getting there with that Rover at the body shop.
I know, man.
Feel your pain, because it wouldn't go over a certain mile an hour. I can envision them maybe hooking on the tie rod ends with the hooks and bending those, or they dragged that thing out there and broke something with the transfer case. Besides body damage or frame damage, you got to be looking at mechanical damage as well. So, good luck with that. You've probably got a bit of a challenge ahead of you.
Oh, man, I tell you what. Anymore I like to Uber on a Friday or Saturday night if my wife and I go out. It's like Uber there. You don't have to worry about parking in Old Town, any of that stuff, because getting your car towed is just a pain in the butt. You used to be in the towing business, so you guys did that?
It's horrible. We were in the customer service side. I tell you, I drove an Uber to my eye LASIK yesterday. Had to have somebody pick me up. I just took an Uber, though. It's great.
It's the way to go. So anyhow, good luck with that, Peter. 602-277-5827. Let's go with Grant in Phoenix. He's got a 2004 Chevrolet Tahoe. How can we help you, Grant? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Hey, this is a little bit of a story. I'm going to sum it up as quick as I can. So I just got new tires, and I still have a little bit of a shimmy. So I bought this car in April. I bought it from my brother in California. The day I bought it, I drove from Palm Springs to LAX and then to Phoenix. And by the time I got to Phoenix, I found out the next day that I had all four tires were separated. And so I bought used tires at that point, and now I've gotten new tires. So by the time I got to Phoenix in April, when I pulled into my driveway, the car was wobbling from side to side like I don't even know. It was crazy. So they were pretty separated. So the couple things that I have going on, so I got new tires, so they should be balanced. I'm going to take them back today and just make sure that they're all balanced. But I still get a little bit of a shimmy, and I get a warning intermittently over the last a few months that on my dashboard that says stability system disabled. So I'm wondering if I should just stop it getting them rebalanced, or if I have a more serious problem.
Are they factory wheels on that vehicle by chance, or are they aftermarket?
They are not. I bought new wheels. So when I got the car back to Phoenix, I just spent all the money on the car, so I didn't want to go, spend another $800 on tires. So I found some wheels and tires, wheels with used tires on Craigslist, and they're not factory wheels.
I think that's what you're going to find is that potentially your wheels may be the problem. Unless your Tahoe is probably a 6-lug wheel, for example, and I bet if you look at your wheels, they've got 12 or 16 holes in them to fit various bolt patterns. Oftentimes you need what's called a hub-centric ring. There's a plastic ring that goes over the center of your hub on the car, and that's what centers the wheel, not necessarily the lug nuts. I think if you went to Discount Tire, one of those tire experts that deals mostly in tires, they'll be able to help you with that, because you can bounce them till you're blue in the face, but if they're not mounted up to the car properly, you're going to get that shimmy. And just one comment about used tires. I understand you bought the used tires and wheels off Craigslist as a package, but the guy who was in my shop the other day and he needed new tires, guess what those tires are? They're used tires. Most of the time you're buying somebody else's tires that shouldn't have been on the road in the first place. That's what you see in a lot of these little shops that are open 24 hours a day, or they got tires and wheels stacked up outside. And so be careful buying those used tires. I mean, they came off most cars because they're no good in the first place. Hey, if you got to get out of a jam, you got to get out of a jam. But once you get unjammed, don't forget what you just put on your car and get it off again.
All right, and I got a little comment about buying cars from family. Bad idea. Do you send your brother the bill? Hey, I needed new tires. I'm just teasing. But that's a thing. That centering thing is an issue, and you got that stability control. It sounds like you need a shop maybe to handle that. And Matt, at your shop, you guys have got a road force balancer. Yep. You guys are capable. You can also find S&S Tire at bumpertobumperradio.com. So go there if you need a good shop. Anyhow, when we come back, we've got an open line or two at 602-277-5827. You listen to Matt and Dave, your KTAR car guys on Bumper to Bumper Radio. Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate Batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate Batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Hi, I'm Kurt Morgan, owner of Shadow Mountain Auto Service in Phoenix. I'm also a college automotive instructor, and I've been a technician for over 30 years. In that time, I've seen all kinds of games and gimmicks in the auto repair business, the worst of which seems to be associated with transmissions. I think it's because, to most, including technicians, the inside of a transmission is a mystery. So when one of our valued customers has a transmission problem, we send them straight to Tri-City Transmission. No games, no gimmicks. That's Tri-City Transmission.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio, KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I'm Dave Riccio from Tri-City Transmission. He is Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service. Bumper to Bumper Radio is a show where we help you, the motoring public, know more about your car so you're more comfortable if you got to take it into the shop, or what should I fix myself, what should I take to the shop. And you can find us at bumpertobumperradio.com. I own an auto shop. Matt owns an auto shop, but we're networked with a whole bunch of auto shops that we trust, and we would gladly send you to tomorrow to get a relationship with. So if you don't have a shop, you're what we consider an orphan customer. In other words, you maybe go here because I got a coupon here, or go there because I got a coupon there, but you need a home. Bumper to Bumper Radio, get that relationship started. Biggest way to relieve anxiety is to have trust. And the only way to get trust is to start working with somebody and find that relationship. So anyhow, we've got Dan and we've got Craig and a couple open lines at 602-277-5827. We're going to go with Dan in Phoenix. He's got a 1995 Dodge Ram pickup. How can we help you, Dan? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call this morning.
You bet.
It's emissions time again, believe it or not. Uh-oh. And I fixed the EGR. I replaced the EGR valve myself. And I bought the truck. Here's the past on it. I bought the truck 2 years ago, and it passed. I had the check engine light on. And because it doesn't have the OBD1 test on it, I had a friend, a backyard mechanic, do the code inspection for me. And I replaced the O2 sensor, the EGR valve at the time, and the oil pressure sensor. I changed all three of those, disconnected the battery, hooked the battery back up, check engine light went off. I took it to emissions that day and passed. My NOx was good, everything was good. Well, 2 years later, the end of November, I took it into emissions again. It failed on the NOx. It was a 4.27. So
what's the spec for?
Yeah, 4.0.
Okay.
So I it's got the 5.9 motor in it. So I replaced the EGR valve again, ran through emissions again. It failed on the hydrocarbons this time and the NOx. So I took it to another mechanic. He's a Chrysler mechanic for like 20 years. He worked on Dodge trucks a long time. So he blew all the carbon out. He changed the crank sensor because it was bad, and the pickup coil, and a couple little vacuum lines. Well, I took it in yesterday after I got it out of the shop, and the NOx was the same. It failed, but the hydrocarbons passed.
Right.
So now I'm at the point I don't know what else to do.
Okay. Well,
I got him scratching his head too.
Well, the NOx is a byproduct of the combustion process. Right. So you've got too hot of cylinder temperature. So you've either got an EGR valve that is not working. You could have EGR ports where the dirty exhaust that you're reburning has to re-enter the engine through the intake manifold. Now, you said something about he cleaned the carbon out. Maybe he cleaned, make sure those passages were free and clear. One way to test that a little bit is it's not the exact precise test, but if you activate the EGR valve, apply vacuum to it, or on some of those you can lift the diaphragm with your finger. The truck should darn near stall or start running really bad.
Vacuum leak.
And if it doesn't, then those ports are plugged up. If it does, then the question is the EGR valve getting a command to work? So you would have to test drive the car with a vacuum gauge in place of the EGR valve. If you're getting the vacuum signal and then the valve is working, there's not much else left then besides marginally dirty ports. You could have an engine slightly lean. If your CO on that car is really low, that could be affecting your NOx because it's going to increase cylinder temperature. Or you could have a bad catalytic converter. So if you test those couple things, I would take the thing out. Maybe this is a case where maybe you put the premium fuel in it for the emissions test because, again, the NOx is high cylinder temperature. So maybe put some fuel system cleaner in there, some Tectron, put a half a tank of the premium, and just go flog the thing. Get on the freeway like you're leaving pit lane. I mean, just foot to the wood, blow the thing out, maybe drop it down a gear.
Run it like a scolded dog.
Yeah, and then try it again. Hell with it. Just go through emissions. Make sure it's nice and hot. If it works, great. If not, you probably have got a weak catalytic converter. They can do a test on that. We sniff the gases. Not literally sniff, but the machine tests the gas before and after. We should have a difference. The other way you can test that, I don't know what the number is, but we're just looking for a difference. Go to Harbor Freight, buy your cheap little laser temperature gun. The back side of the catalytic converter should be hotter than the front side. The outlet should be hotter than the inlet because that's where it's burning. If they're the same temperature in and out, you've got a bad catalytic converter.
Well, that's a longer answer Dan, and man, you're long-winded today. We should hurt your eye more often.
Well, hey, we've only got a couple minutes left, and so the man needed some information. He's been out there chasing around. He got sunburned under the shade tree.
All right.
And maybe spent some money unnecessarily. So I think that's going to solve his problem.
We've got Craig in Surprise. I think he's looking at buying a car. Hey, Craig, what kind of car are you looking for?
Okay, thank you. Much love and respect for your radio show. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask the question, sir.
You bet.
Okay, this is my criteria. I would like a two-seater, convertible, stick shift. I'm thinking about 10 years or older. I'm looking in the market for a used vehicle, and I've been eyeing on Craigslist dealers and owners of the Porsche Boxster. And I've been doing my so-called research, but I kind of want to hear what you guys think of the used Porsche Boxster, and what other type of cars I could look at that's similar to a two-seater convertible manual.
You have your convertible, so that the Boxster, in that price range, the Boxster's, your best, but you're not going to jump into a 911 for the same price as a Boxster. The Cayman doesn't come in a convertible. I'm thinking of BMW maybe. They've got the Z3 or Z4 coupes. Lexus.
Those look fun.
Lexus had a hot little convertible deal a few years ago. But the most important thing, I don't care what you're buying. I don't care who you're buying it from. I don't care how bad you think you got to have this car because somebody else is going to get it tomorrow if I don't get it today. You got to go spend some money and get it checked out. You buy a used Porsche and you buy a mistake, you have bit off a big old chunk of something you don't want to be chewing on for very long. I can promise you that. You're going to want maintenance records. You want this car looked at. And I'm not talking about the guy who says, I'll give it a look over, and he kicks the tires and walks around it. And so that looks good. I think when you buy that kind of used car, you're spending a couple $100 potentially, and you're really getting somebody who knows what they're doing to look that over. Because believe me, you don't want to spend your whole budget on the car.
Well, Mike Russell, the outdoor guy that you're going to hear from here in just a few minutes, he bought an F-150, and he would call Matt and I all the time, say, hey, I'm looking at this car, Matt even went out and looked at a couple cars with him, and he would run them by me. I'd look at them on Craigslist with him, and then he bought one without our knowledge. He just bought it. He's like, here's the truck I bought. I got in it, and I was like, oh, man, it idles rough. There's something going on here. We just got to the bottom of it. He got totally took.
2 weeks later, somebody hit a problem. I'm sure we're going to talk about it later, but that was probably about a $3,000 or $4,000 mistake.
Oh, my goodness. So anyhow,
good deal, no more.
Get that car checked out. Don't make a mistake on it. Thanks for joining us. We will be back next week. Thanks, Bree, for running the dials.